It's not fair. That's right, it's not fair. Life very rarely is. And that's what we're going to be talking about today on Andrew Gamero Coaching. So thank you for all joining me today. And let's get talking about what to do when life is not fair. It's not fair. I'm sure this is a phrase that most of us have used in our lifetime and hear quite frequently, especially when you have kids. You hear that a lot. But let's face it, life isn't fair. It just simply isn't. There are no guarantees of equality and justice in this world, and it doesn't take very many years before you figure that out. So although God did create man and woman equal, and He planned for this world to be a beautiful and wonderful place to live, once sin entered the world, that all ended. It's because of sin that life isn't fair. And that's how evil men end up running governments or big corporations, and the little guy gets squashed. So even though life isn't fair, here are some ways that you can break through those walls and come out victorious. When life feels unfair. Okay, so you didn't get the promotion or the job that you were looking for. What do? Firstly, you need to allow yourself to feel all those feelings of disappointment. There's no problem with feeling your feelings. It's really important that you actually do. When you feel your feelings, the great thing about feelings is that they will pass. No matter how horrible they are, they will pass. So allow yourself to feel those feelings. If you don't and you just ignore them or try to push them down, they're going to come back bigger and stronger and more ferocious, and then you're going to be in trouble. So firstly, feel the feelings. Yeah, it's a bummer that you didn't get that job, that you didn't get that promotion. You really deserved it, but it went to somebody else. So feel that disappointment, because once you have felt that disappointment, you can let it go, and it will really stay gone, or when it comes back, it will be a lot lessened than if you try to ignore it completely. It's also okay to feel that life is unfair, as long as you don't fall down that rabbit hole of victimhood. Victimhood is not okay. Victimhood holds you down. It creates anger, frustration, and pent-up emotion that can prove deadly. You need to move away from victimhood as quickly as you can. When you start feeling those thoughts of why me, it's always me, they're always so mean to me, everybody's so nasty, blah, 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 that's victimhood. And you need to stay away from it, because our minds are very, very strong. They're very powerful. And you can look through things from a positive or a negative aspect. And negativity is always going to drag you down, and it is never, ever beneficial to your life. You need to look things from a positive thing. You can look at any situation, and you can look at it from two different perspectives. Did they really mean to hurt you? Or were they just not thinking about anything but themselves? Most of the time, it's not personal. Most people are so super focused on themselves, they don't have any concern or thought about how their behavior is affecting those around them, and they really don't care. So even though somebody says something nasty to you, most likely it's not personal. It's more a reflection of what they're thinking about themselves than it is about you. And yeah, it still hurts for you to have to hear that. But if you can recognize the fact that it's not about you, it's about them and whatever they're going through in that moment. I mean, you don't know what phone call they just came off of, what news they just received, how nasty somebody else might have talked to them, and they end up lashing out at you. Is that fair to you? No, it's not fair to you, because you didn't have anything to do with it. But they haven't had a chance to vent or offload. Since they got some negative input on them, they handed it off to you. But what you can do is choose not to accept that negativity. You can choose not to accept what they just threw at you and go, and in your brain say, not mine. I'm not accepting that. I'm not taking on that negativity today. The Bible tells us that kind words will ease anger. And it's so true. I mean, even if you get some really nasty things said to you, if you can respond in a calm and kind way in return, you're going to start to diffuse that situation very quickly. And before long, that individual is going to apologize to you for what they said to you or how they treated you, because they know that it wasn't about you. It was about them not being able to control their own emotions and their own response to what just happened. So try to be kind. Kindness matters, and kindness is always the better way. Not the easiest way, but it's always the better way. Another great thing to do when you're feeling your emotions and you're feeling your disappointment is to write them all down. Because once you get them down on paper, you can start to see the validity of them, or how absolutely ridiculous they are. Because things that sound good in your head don't always sound good when you put them down on paper, or when you speak them as well. So by putting them down on paper, you can analyze them and go, okay, is this true? Is it not? Do I want to accept it? Do I not? Because even if something seems true, it doesn't mean it is, and you don't have to accept it. You can choose to look at it from a different perspective, and you can choose to follow. Because if you choose to follow something that is more constructive, okay, you didn't get that job. You could contact that employer and ask them, hey, thank them for the interview, thank them for the opportunity, ask for feedback. Why didn't you get the job? What could you improve? Is it going to get you the job that you were just denied? No. But it will be able to help you know what you need to do to improve so you can get that next job. So that next opportunity that comes out, you can put these new information into practice, and it'll get you a better chance of getting that next job that comes along. And that is a much more productive way of dealing with that rejection of not getting that job than just falling into a pity party and a victimhood mindset that I'll never get a job, everybody hates me, which is not true. Not everyone hates you. Some people might. I mean, we don't know. Think about it yourself. You don't love everybody around you. There's different people you come in contact with that you may not love, and that's fine. You don't have to love everybody, but you also have to accept that there are going to be people out there that don't like you, and that's okay too, because that's their prerogative. They get to choose who they like, who they want in their sphere, and who they don't, and it's all okay. We need to be okay with people not liking us, and we need to be able to move on with that. And believe me, I come from a people-pleasing perfectionist background, so being able to say that right now and be okay with it and believe it and know that it's true, it's been a long journey for me, but it is true. You don't have to, not everybody has to like you, and you will survive when people don't. But let's go back to writing out these, your emotions. You then get to choose which ones are true. You can reject those that are blatantly not true. And then even with the ones that you've decided are true, now what are you going to do about it? What are you going to fix? What are you going to change? How can you look at it differently that will give you a more productive outcome? And that will really help you grow and be able to move forward when life is unfair. Okay, so let's look at some examples of this. I mean, God gave us such incredible brains that we can change our mind on anything, even if the thought seems valid. As I mentioned before, there's ways that you can decide what's a better way that I can look at that. How can I learn from this? Let's go through an example of what this could look like in your life. So let's say that one of your workmates, they get promoted over you even though you've been in the company longer. And boy, I've been there. And yeah, it does feel very unfair. Your thought may be, it's not fair. I never get the projects I want. I never get promoted. Next step, you vent. For 15 minutes, vent on a piece of paper and write down all the reasons that it's unfair, all the reasons you should have got that promotion, you should have got that project, whatever it may be. Spend 15 minutes venting. Set a timer on your phone, your watch, whatever's nearby, but set a timer, 15 minutes, and go at it. Don't analyze while you're writing it down. Just write it all down. Get it out of your brain, get it on paper. And that is what we're going to do next. Okay, so let's look at our thought of, I never get the projects I want. Okay, is that true? Was there never a time in your history that you got a project you wanted? Even once means that that statement is untrue. Okay, let's look at it further. Okay, why might I not have gotten that particular project? Was your plate already full? Did your boss think that you had enough on it, enough things to do, and you didn't want to add to your stress level or that pile on your desk? Was there another one of your fellow workers that was more experienced in that area, and it was going to be a much easier project for them to jump on instead of you? So there's so many other things that could have played the role into you not getting that particular project. By doing this, you can go through one by one, and because you've got all these thoughts down on paper now, and you're kind of going through each one in this way, seeing how true they are they valid and helpful, it's going to start taking the edge off, the angst about not getting that job, not getting that project. And it's going to help you process your emotions and put a more even perspective into why you didn't get that project. And it may turn out it had absolutely nothing to do with you. It was just that another coworker, it was more in their alley, it was more in their field. They needed something to do, so your boss gave it to them instead. It's just as simple as that. Nothing to do with you. And then you can move on, because we all have this fear of failure, of not being good enough. Well, guess what? Now you've just proved to yourself it's not about failure, it's not about you, it's not about being good enough. Somebody else just needed something to do. Simple as that. Next thing you're going to do is neutralize that thought. So whatever bottom line you came out of after you analyzed it, you're going to neutralize the thought. So that could sound like, well, I really don't like the decision, but there's nothing I can do about it, and I'm going to move on. There. Now you've taken it off. You don't need to fuss about it. It's not the end of the world. I mean, that could even be how you word it to yourself. I don't like the decision, but it's not the end of the world. I'll get the next one. And just put tagging on that, I'll get the next one. We'll start to put hope and positivity back into your brain and into your body so that you can move forward with your day. And then the next step, you can reframe the thought. You know what? I had a lot on my plate. I really didn't have time for that project anyway. It's okay. Or you know what? My coworker, they just finished a really big project and they needed something to do. It has nothing to do about me. And that's it. So congratulations. Now you've just worked through that initial fear of failure and not being good enough and life being unfair. And now you've moved it through and you're going to be victorious on the other side. So did you know that there's actually benefits to feeling that life's unfair? Here are some of those benefits. You can find your passion, advocating for yourself, and changing your path. So let's start with finding your passion. So if you are just absolutely irate because you feel something's unfair, you may have just found your passion. When you realize what you are passionate about, then you can start investigating ways on how you can help. Could be animal rights, could be political, could be faith-based, anything helping impoverished people in third world countries, or just the homeless and jobless citizens that are now living in a tent down the street. Whatever your passions are, now you can find out ways that you can help them. You can start writing your congressman or your member of parliament to voice your concerns so that they can start making real change in the government for which they represent you. You could start writing articles that you could send out to newspapers, magazines, or news outlets to try to get it published on a grander scale. You could start a podcast or a YouTube video channel so that your voice can be out there and be heard amongst all the noise that's out there. So there's so many ways that you can use this to benefit yourself and the world around you. And if you happen to be financially blessed, then you can start donating to others that are already set up projects that fit with the things you're passionate about. There's really no end to what you can do, but one of the great benefits of pursuing what you're passionate about is that the minute you take action, you stop feeling like a victim because you're doing something. You're doing something about it. It's no longer them coming against you. You're going to make a difference. And getting yourself out of that victimhood mindset is incredibly important. Unfortunately, in this world today, there's too many people living in victimhood. And because they're so bottled up in the negativity of that, they're lashing out and harming people that don't feel the same. And that's just wrong. Everybody has freedom of thought, freedom of religion, freedom of movement, or at least they should have in a democratic country. So just because they don't feel the same way as you, they still have that same right to feel that way and speak that way. You can choose not to listen, not to be around them, not to watch what they are involved with, but they still have the right to say it. But getting ourselves out of the victimhood mindset is going to help us not lash out and harm someone else just because they don't think the same way we do. And it will give you a new sense of purpose and motivation in your life because you know you're doing something important and something that really matters. The next big benefit is advocating for yourself. So let's say you go through the example that we gave above and you're really still very upset that you got passed over. Maybe your boss didn't know how important it was to you. This is the time that you need to have those difficult conversations, whether it's with a teacher, a spouse, parent, employer, whoever it is. Have that difficult conversation, schedule it, and just let them know how much you wanted that, how important that was to you. Maybe they didn't even know. And the next time you'll be considered on the list. In the situation of being in the workplace, by letting your boss know how important that was to you, it shows your commitment to the company and your commitment to moving up. And that's really important for a manager to know. To know which of their employees is happy where they are or the ones that want more and can provide the company with more. And once they know that, they're going to start looking around for opportunities for you to do that. The other thing you can do is get feedback. Maybe you need more training in a certain area. Your work is not showing that you're capable of that next level. Having that feedback from your boss is going to allow you to go and get the training you need to move up to that next level so that you do get that promotion the next time. You know, the reality is that not much is given to us for free these days. You have to get out of your comfort zone and ask for what you want. So if you ask for it, you're already got a 50% chance that you're going to get what you want. But if you don't ask for it, you're getting zero because nobody knows you wanted it in the first place. One of my children, really great for asking what they want. The other one rarely asks for what they want. So in that case, I'm constantly having to tell the other child, you know what? Do you want that? Don't you want that? Because if you don't ask for help, you're not going to be able to get it. And with this year ends my homeschooling years for both my kids. Now my son's in grade 10, my daughter's in grade 12. So they're in online school so they can get their diploma in Alberta because those are the rules. And I made it very clear to both of them before school started this September that if they need help, I'm here for them, but they have to ask me. They have to tell me that they need help because, you know, I am more than happy to help them out in whatever way, read through assignments, ideas, whatever they need. If they're struggling with stuff, they need to ask me. Because even if it's something in the math that I'm not that great with, we'll get them a tutor. But we're not going to grab a tutor before we know we need one. So ask. Asking is so incredibly important and advocating for yourself and what you need, because if you don't, nobody reads minds. No matter what the movies say and some of these so-called clairvoyants and things like that, nobody can read your mind. And so if you don't ask, they are not going to know. They're not going to just figure it out on their own. So ask. But when you ask, make sure you do it calmly, kindly, non-confrontational. And sometimes that means setting up an appointment so that everybody can be even-keeled. Because, asking for feedback in the moment of the great disappointment may come off a bit aggressive. So giving some time for everybody to cool off and then have a calm conversation so that we can get honest and productive feedback from both parties is essential. And you know what? For most bosses, they are more than happy to have feedback from their employees because they want you to succeed just as much as they do. They can't succeed in their job as manager if the employees underneath them are not happy and they're not succeeding. It's a reflection on them. So your constructive and kind feedback for them is going to be just as beneficial for you as it is for them. The next thing is changing your paths. So sometimes even if you do advocate for yourself, you're still not going to get what you want. And so now's the time to start to consider, is this where I want to be? Is this what I want to do? Because you know what? Your employer is not the only one out there. Maybe it's time to move on. And that's great. Finding out what you're passionate about and what really makes you happy, makes your heart sing, that's a great way to find out what to do next. And then you start researching places that you think would be a really great place to work, and then pursue them. Redo your resume, cover letters. Just start doing what you need to do to get in front of their faces, so that they will hire you, and then you can start doing what you really want to do and make the progress that you are after. Now, this change in path may require going back to school, and that's just fine. There are so many options these days. You can do in-person classes, you can do online classes, and it's amazing what's out there. I mean, just Google it and you will find amazing options, no matter what it is that you're passionate about. I mean, I'm currently in the process myself of going back to school to get my master's in Christian counseling. This wasn't something that was on my radar even 10 years ago, but with my personal experience and the training that I've already had, and with the urgings of the Holy Spirit, I truly feel that this makes sense. This is the next step for me, is to become a Christian counselor. I love helping people, and this is just the next logical best step for me. So it's supposed to start up. I'm supposed to start next week. We'll see. I'm still, financially speaking, I am not there yet. So I'm still waiting for the miracle that's going to produce the money, the funds, so that I can start classes on the 15th of September. So we'll see if that happens. But if not, I will start in January, because I know by then finances will have changed to the point that I will be able to start in January. But I'd really, really, really love to start in a week. But this is up to God. I've put it into God's hands, and we'll see if I get to start on the 15th, or if he's saying not quite yet, almost, but not quite. And I always put it before God, everything I do. I say, your will be done, Lord. So if this is something that you want me to do, if this truly is your will for me, then please provide me with the finances so that I can go. And if it's not, then I'll be okay with that as well. But that's what happens when you want to change your path. Be open to the possibilities that are out there. And, I know that God has such great things planned for all of us, way beyond what we can come up with in our human minds. So I'm just keeping myself open to what God has in store for me, and then pursuing it when the time is right. So in conclusion, It's Not Fair perfectly describes what life on earth right now is like. It's what we do with that situation that makes all the difference. I mean, God gave us such incredible minds and bodies. We can change our minds at any time as we take in new information. It's just incredible what we can do when we look at things logically, reframe them, and decide what we want to do next. It's that decision of what we want to do next that makes all the difference in life. And when we take the time to find what our passions are, to advocate for ourselves, and then make the changes necessary to do what we feel God is calling us to do, that's what gives us productive, healthy, and happy lives. So if you need any help with this, please reach out to me at andrea@nopainnogain.ca, and I will be more than happy to help you out. So thank you so much for joining me today. You could have been anywhere else, but you're here with me, and I couldn't be more grateful. If you wanted to help me out, you could like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend so that the algorithm knows that this is valuable information that other people should see. And if you're looking for a coach, I can help you there as well. I am a neurodiversity coach. I am a health and wellness coach. I can help people with chronic illnesses like FM and diabetes and chronic fatigue. And I can also help with their confidence. And as a neurodiversity coach, I can help with things like autism, ADHD, HPI, and disc disorders. So reach out to me, or if you have a loved one that you think could use some help, again, reach out to me at andrea@nopainnogain.ca, and we can set up an appointment and see if working together would be a good fit for both of us. I hope you have a truly wonderful, wonderful week, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.